Welcome back everybody to another video. I'm making this video because there's been a lot of confusion about running 120 hertz, whether you're running 4K HDR and 120 hertz or 1440p in 120 hertz and you turn off the HDR and you turn off the 4K, or people are fighting about if they're running 120 hertz and they're like, hey, look, I'm proving to you that I'm running 120 hertz. It says it right there on a display. So I decided, I'm just gonna make this video, and it's basically just to showcase my experience with 120 hertz. So if you have more knowledge about this subject, you can give your input in the comments. Typically, when we talk about 120 hertz, it is also referring to 120 frames per second in gaming. If you didn't know by now, not every game is optimized to run 120 frames per second by the developers. When I test Gears 5 on a PC monitor, it seems to hit the 144 hertz mark consistently, or whatever I set it at. I also tested Black Ops Cold War on a TV OLED with G-Sync on a PC, and the average frames per second ranges roughly from 60 to like 107. Bear in mind, even though you set your device to 120 hertz and check your resolution along with the hertz and it displays 120 hertz, it is not necessarily true, because when you test the frames per second in real time, that is what you're really running. So if you want to know for certain your game's frame rate, you can currently only test on a PC game. That being said, you're probably not running true 120 hertz on the PS5 and the Xbox Series X unless it has the capabilities to display in real time the frames per second for the games that is supposed to be able to run 120 hertz. Now, is it worth buying a TV or monitor that can output 120 hertz or higher, knowing the fact that developers are actually not really shooting for that 120 hertz or 120 frames per second? I still would have to say yes, it is worth it, because most of the time your game will run more than 60 frames per second, especially if you have like allow low latency mode or variable refresh rate on your TV, and you would be future proofing your display for when the game developers actually shoot for that 120 hertz mark. So even without this knowledge, you probably wouldn't even notice you're dipping well below 100 frames per second while gaming. But the response time nowadays is so much quicker and better than the previous generations. Now, that is it for this video. I hope you have a little more clarity on 120 hertz. And thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you in the next one. Hooded Dragons out.